day?
Mate, you know what? I'm halfway through a tour. I'm up to my head and so much work and logistics and promotion, and it's non-stop, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gotta be, right? I'm glad to hear that. So before we get started, I want to ask if it's okay to be able to record this so that we can conduct essentially an interview and me being able to get to know you and sharing your message with other people as well as content. Would that be okay with you?
That's okay.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. So I noticed that you're sharing a lot of stuff in being able to be a speaker and helping with presentation skills. And I actually want to be a speaker myself. And I find it quite fascinating that you've already stepped into this realm and you're helping others being able to exponentially increase their potential in that sense. So what is it that for you in becoming this speaker yourself was a pivotal movement and change to be able to get you to where you are now?
I mean, I've been in the entertainment industry for 25 years. So a TV presenter, a TV producer, actor, lots of public speaking. And what I discovered through this over those 25 years is I wanted people to connect deeper with their audience. And there was a superficial sense to what we were doing in general that it was like when we presented, there was a mask on, it was the cameras went on and you change personality. You know, you go from your normal self to, hey, you know what I mean? And there was a sense of no satisfaction. Like I felt like I was taking the piss out of my audience by not giving them enough. So I kind of, in the late, just a few years ago, I moved to Bali and took some time out. And I started teaching, presenting full time. I started teaching it. And took a little bit of a back seat to being on TV. And what I got through that was starting to work with business people was that the way that they wanted to leverage their business using public speaking, doing video, Facebook Lives, etc. But what they weren't doing was connecting with their audience because they were trying to be this fantasy or their perception or fantasy of what they thought they were meant to look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah. So if there's no authenticity, if there's no connection, if there's no deep connection being made, you're pushing shit uphill. Really, you're not attracting your right tribe. And you're not you're not being a true representation of your business or yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being in mind, do you really position yourself as a person of integrity and transparency in how you share your morals, your values, and some of the principles that guide you?
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I teach is you being the example of which you speak of. So if you're getting up in public speaking, you need to be the example of which you're telling other people to be or do. So I can't get up. The irony is not lost to me. I can't get up and talk about authenticity and values and being a good speaker and working moment to moment and creating connections with your audience if I'm not doing that myself.
Absolutely.
So if they forget everything that I've said, if they forget everything I've said, they'll remember how I made them feel. And more importantly, they will remember. They just have to. It's like a follow me. It's like, let's do this. Just do this. And all I ask is that people are very congruent with who they really are. It makes a massive difference to your business.
Right. Okay. So in that sense, in being able to have that integrity and the representation of your experience by setting that example with the knowledge that you've been able to achieve, in what sense did you really step into knowing that you had to commit to having this decision and living your life with integrity?
I feel like I've always been living my life with integrity. It's just I had. I was kind of brought up a lot with my grandma and grandfather, and they had very old-fashioned values that were installed in me. But the more I get into this, the more I'm teaching, the more I'm realizing that the style, effectively, which I teach, is a style. It's a fitness style. There's no difference between who you are at home and who you are on stage or in front of camera. This is what makes it a beautiful. This is what makes it effortless.
Right.
And to be able to do this, the style allows the good people to rise to the top. Because if you're being congruent and honest with who you are and authentic, if you are a trustworthy person, you don't need to pretend to be trustworthy. You just are.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
You don't have to indicate to your audience who you are, because you just are. You just be, and your audience will see that. For example, I'll use that trustworthy as an example. I worked with a guy who was an extremely sweet guy and very, very trustworthy. But when he was on video, there was just something about him that was starting to piss me off. And I was like, dude, where have you gone? What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we got down to the bottom of it, he was trying to come across as trustworthy. Now, what was pissing me off about it was because he was trying to be trustworthy, he was indicating to his audience that, hey, look, I'm a trustworthy person, but he just had to be himself. It's like a yoga instructor who hops on video and all of a sudden he's like, Shanti, very, very relaxed, calm and breathing. It's like, dude, just be you. You are a yoga instructor. Don't pretend to be a yoga instructor.
Right, totally.
That's what makes you different than the other guy. If you guys all go in there and pretend to be yoga instructors, you're all going to look the same. Look the same, sound the same. It's yeah. Do you know? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like how what you're saying is coming from two different worlds, and you have those gathered perspectives to be able to create this one anew, and you're being able to share that representation from a different point of view. So what I really like to do is learn from other people's perspectives and develop my own. So it gives me a whole different view in being able to have that transparency. There's no veil in what you're saying. It's split up in a very clear indication of what you're trying to express. So thank you.
Yeah. We don't need more carbon copies of each other. We need more. What makes you? That's what I'm buying.
Right.
You know, I'm buying into you. I'm not buying into this mask you're wearing. And then I get to know you. I'm like, do you know what, Michael? I like what I've seen on stage or on video. I'm now going to employ your skills. And then you start working to go, this guy isn't who I saw on the video. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I got a false sense of who you are, and then you start working together, and how you start picking up clients that you don't like. You know, you go through that scenario of how do I, like on a Monday morning, and you're going, shit, man, I've got Michael today at 2:00, and he's such a pain in my ass. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you keep wondering, how do I keep picking up these losers? And you realize we're not losers, just different vibes, different vibes, not your tribe. But if I just turn up as me and you turn up as you on screen or in public speaking, I just get to go, do you know what? I like him or I don't like him. And if I don't like it, and if I don't like Michael, it's just that we're not gelling. It's just that you're not sitting in my tribe, which is perfect. Exactly. I get to make a really clean decision.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It breaks
it
because
up.
Yeah, and because you're being so authentic and real,
That's what you want, bro.
I get to judge you on your real self, not this
Mhm.
false kind of
Exactly.
thing that you're putting on when you go on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. So me being able to speak with people, I find that the people I resonate with the most are people who are true to themselves, who have that purpose and the inclination to be able to express themselves. Because if they don't get in deep with those inner roots, then they're missing pieces of their personal growth that could have been added to the puzzle, but it's just all scatterbrained, you know? So being able to put that into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
right set of actions and what you do, what you represent, your message is fully integral.
Yeah.
So with what I'm learning and being able to be in the online space, it's the same thing. Deploying empathy and understanding for other people while being consistent with your values and who you are, being truthful is going to be the winning factor for what is coming in today's day and age. I mean, there's social media, all these profiles, there's brands, and if you're very consistent and concise with who you are and what you represent, that gives a clean image in your passion and interest and that window into stepping into working with somebody. So you're 100% correct. So for me, I'd like to ask you, what has been a huge driving factor in you being this passionate speaker? What gives you the reason and the why to give that message?
Do you know what? In my 20s, which I'm guessing you are in your 20s, right?
I'm
That's a wild
19.
guess. You're 19.
Yeah,
So
I'm going to
close.
be
Very, very
20
close.
next month.
Nice. Nice. There you go. So you're a Taurus then, or Aries.
Aries, that's right. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Man, in my early 20s, around about 21, 22, it was actually 1994, and I was 20, and I remember looking at the TV and watching an actor, and went, "Do you know what? If that loser can do it, so can I."
Mm.
And the more I got into things, by the mid-20s, my intention, or I had this dream to be able to change the way people present and communicate. And at that stage of my life, of course, that came across as a little bit egotistical, especially when I hadn't even had a presenting job. It was like this mad, crazy dream, right?
Right.
Then in my 30s, when I was working full-time in TV, I still had the sense of not satisfied every time I'd finished or wrapped up on a shoot. There was a sense that if my audience was going to judge me, I wanted them to have the whole picture to judge me by.
Ah.
And if they were going to say, "Do you know what, that Andrew is a dick," I'm okay with it if they got to judge me. Because you know how you go, "Do you know what, they just don't know me. They just don't get it. They don't know me." You know, I wanted them to see who I was.
Absolutely.
Now, then in my, which, you know, I'm 44 now, the beautiful thing is it was only in October last year where the penny dropped, and I went back a decade to my 30s. I went back 2 decades into my 20s, and holy shit, I was on a TV show working with, interviewing somebody, and the penny dropped for me and went, I'm doing exactly what I said I was going to do in my mid-20s. I just didn't realize it. And I hadn't looked back that far to actually identify the string of times. When I said that in my 20s, I just didn't know that it was going to look like this. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And right now, you broke up a little bit.
It was
Mm-hmm. I'm more excited for that than I am. Okay. Not the best connection at the moment. You still there, Andrew?
So like just like a thing like nothing good.
It's true.
right.
For once
Up. Yeah, right. Okay, sure thing.
Well, what do you think? I don't think so.
Yeah. If we all start using this now, we all start using
Oh no, not. We're done with you.
You there?
Oh, yeah.
That's Australian.
Right.
There's only a certain amount.
I think we're coming back.
Well, we can stop the video if that makes it work, or we can do a phone call. I guess stopping the video works because I can hear
I
you.
think it's. There you go. I think it was just we were just having an internet moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now you're
Is
white. It was
Is it
red.
better now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. We're back. We're back.
Absolutely. We're back online. Okay. And you were saying?
I can't remember what I was saying. We were rudely interrupted by the
you were at that
internet.
string of thought, and that going back into you from what you said when you were 25, now being where you are now. I was going to ask on what point on your timeline are you now? How old are you, and at what point in where you want to be is that reference to?
Mate, I'm 44 now. I'm at this insanely amazing time where I'm teaching really good people. I tour Australia every 8 weeks. I hold retreats in Bali. I hold retreats in Austria. I'm doing my first workshop in London in June.
Wow.
And I'm at a point where it's constantly the business growing and then me myself growing and then having to change my business model to keep up with my personal growth and how much attention that is attracting.
Right.
Which you'd expect around this age, right? And I've never felt more congruent with what I'm doing before. Like when I get out of bed, I know exactly what I'm doing. And
Good.
it's just putting the puzzle together as a business each day of, okay, how do I best serve these people with the skill set that I have?
Okay, right.
It's become less about needing clients. It's become way more about what are the exciting things that I want my life to look like.
Think about it as we go.
Right.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah, how do I want my life? What do I want my life to look like that works around my dream and also serves my clients? So it's having retreats around the world. It's going to countries and I wouldn't normally go to and making money out of going there and then tagging on a holiday. And it's pretty cool. It's a cool time.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like it's quite exciting. And if there were a specific message that you would vibe with in what you're trying to share with others in going to these retreats and having these events when you're speaking, what would that attune to?
I have a hashtag that I use, which is called hashtag This Is Me Today. And I have a group called The Heart of Presenting. So a group called The Heart of Presenting, and people come in and it's very fun. We play and do Facebook Lives and muck about, and it's giving people their confidence to just be them. This is me today, no change of state. And the key to the way that I teach presenting is there's no change of state between who you are off camera or on stage and then when camera goes on. I was teaching people to stay, instead of waiting for the feeling to start, just start and allow the feeling to come.
It's just like
okay. Yeah. So that's totally right. Being on par with execution and just letting everything flow out of you is wholly a part of that transparency. It's getting past that factor of just starting in the first place, and it can even be a joke. Even just getting into laughing and knowing that what you're doing is something so simple and easy and just opening yourself up. I think that's a hard barrier that a lot of people have problems with, and just getting on a camera and sharing that knowledge with other people.
Well, they have expectations of themselves which are impossible to meet.
Right.
You have these, you hold the bar up here, which is you're never going to reach. And we have these expectations of ourselves, this fantasy or perception of what it's meant to look like on stage or in front of camera, which is built on nothing. There's no foundation. And so you go on stage trying to be something that you're not, of which is impossible, and you fail each time and you beat yourself up about it. You just need to go on And even if that means starting slowly and warming up into it and finding your legs. And I have this thing, which is, I'm going to share with you. I'll share your
Okay.
screen if that's okay.
Sure thing. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
Let me bring this up.
By the way, while we're on this call, I went ahead and requested to join the group part of presenting. Thank you.
All right. Can you see this?
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
All right. So can you see where my my little cursor is?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this middle part, the comfort zone, right, is where most of us play, you know, and we want to stay safe in here on stage in front of the camera.
Right.
But and this is our edge. Now you have to. I teach people what I want them to do is play around the edge, like leaning out into fear and starting to play around your edge. This is where you keep people on edge who are watching you. This is where your audience is on edge. They don't quite know what's going to come out of your mouth. You're living in territory that is moment to moment to moment. You haven't rehearsed it. It's exciting, and this is where the good stuff happens. The further you push out your edge, this all becomes your new normal, right?
Right.
You know, whenever we do stuff new again, it's out of our comfort zone, but then it becomes our new normal.
Mm-hmm.
Which means if you're playing in your comfort zone, this is your play area.
I'm not even
in here.
on that, but I am on Instagram.
Okay.
And when you push out your new edge, this becomes your new normal, which means all this becomes the area you get to play. And this just keeps repeating. It goes out another circle and it becomes your new, again, your play area just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until when you're getting on stage, it's almost like just being a kid where it's just fun.
Yeah, I get it. Absolutely.
Do you see what I mean? It's
yeah.
The more you, if you stay in that comfort zone, you don't move, you don't experience I guess, which is the gold of being able to work moment to moment to moment with your audience. And it keeps you on edge and it keeps them on edge, which creates this nice bond and connection with each other. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. And if your focus were to be on one point and what you're trying to share with people and speaking and getting all this intertwined, what would that lay on?
Just repeat that again, Michael.
If you had one point that you're trying to share with people in your teaching, what would that be exactly?
That presenting is effortless. It's a form of communication. Presenting is a form of communication.
Oh, really?
And hence why if you're not creating that sense of communication and acknowledging everybody in there by sharing the energy and creating a feeling, you're missing the point. Presenting's a feeling. It's not so much a doing.
Yeah.
You know, I take people to that point where you can see their eyes spark and they're like, I feel alive. And then you're like, that is the feeling now that you need to chase every single time you present.
Like it doesn't make me want to click it.
Okay. Got it. So that's great. I feel that being able to be immersed in the right space where you do feel welcome and you do feel like you're getting to be able to touch base with everybody, deploying more empathy in what you do, and especially with simply being in tune with yourself and how your representation to be able to extend yourself to get past and into this play area that's always new boundaries is going to be extremely influential in taking that next step and sharing who you are with other people. My thoughts are with this being something that you're sharing with so many different individuals and being able to go and speak around the world and hold your own events. What are you doing to improve upon making this vision for you in going to these retreats and traveling the world a reality?
Probably a couple of things. One is I allow my business and what I'm teaching to perpetually grow. So I don't get stuck on my branding. I don't get stuck on what it is that I'm teaching, because it's constantly growing and evolving. So the workshop that I'm presenting on this Australian tour is not the workshop that I'll present in May. It'll be completely different. And I allow that to grow, and there's a feeling of I'm putting people through an experience.
Right.
It's part of it is the teaching, but part of that is the experience they get. So I take them on a journey, which is a lot of my art. It's a lot of my expression, and which can be very nerving. You want, as an artist, you hope that when you present it to people that they go on the journey that you've had in your head. Okay. And to do this around the world, the way I've created these opportunities is to do a lot of podcasts, a lot of webinars, to consistently turn up knowing my stuff. And do you know what? A key is to fail fast.
Okay.
To fail fast. So so for example, my London workshop is an experiment just to show my followers how you do this. So I don't know anyone in London. I don't know where the venues are. I don't know where to hold it. So at the moment, I'm showing the people in my Facebook group the journey. So me finding a venue, me creating what price point am I going to do this? What is my workshop going to look like? And then it's the journey of me getting there, going, now I'm making connections in the UK, via social media and on LinkedIn, finding people in London, social media, connecting with people in London, getting them to share my lead magnets or my event that is getting out there and slowly growing a tribe. So even if I get to London and 5 people turn up, it's 5 more than I would never have had, which will, by the next year, will grow to 15, 20, and then 30, 40, 50. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if it was labeled a failure and 5 people turn up, then that failure will become a success in the second year. But if I hadn't have had the balls or the naivety or the ability to fail fast, I would still not be doing anything at all. So I'm not afraid of going to London and failing. And it's highly unlikely I will, but that is a chance I'm willing to take.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you say that with what you just said and failing fast, would you say that that's a guiding principle and something that's helped you to get to where you are now and where you're going to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. It's one of my absolute keys. And I teach people people who I'm coaching in my academy or in my online program, I really get them comfortable with failing. It's not to be seen as a failure. It's to be seen as success. Like I always say, I'm just a constant stream of failures, one failure after next, but they're all building to that success. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
To get to this little point is just constant failure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise we could have the success tomorrow. If we didn't have to fail, I could just do something tomorrow. But I've got to build up to that. I don't know the tools. I don't know what I need. I don't know when I get there, what is that damn level I have to be at? I don't know. The only way I can know is to get up to that point, and I'm either ready or I fail. And if I fail, I'm like, okay, well, when I create this opportunity for myself again, I just need to be at that level.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense? I don't know if you understand quantum physics at all. Do you?
I can't say I do. I'd love to learn about
That's
it.
all right. I didn't at your age either. So quantum physics is, to put it into layman terms, let's say the opportunity that I have I'm running a retreat with another couple of people in Austria in June.
Okay.
Now, the Andrew that opportunity came up to a year ago was not ready for, if that Andrew had turned up for that opportunity, I wouldn't have been ready. So I asked myself, what is the kind of coach, my beliefs, my character, the tools that I have, the confidence, how I hold myself. I started describing the man that I needed to be to create that, to make the most of that opportunity. And then you step into that person's shoes.
Right.
So when I'm on stage and I can feel that something's not working, instead of going into myself and wanting the floor to swallow me up, I go, okay, hold on. How do I react as that man that is up here? I just hold myself fine. I think about it, and then I move out of it. What it is that quantum physics, they say that in a parallel universe, that person you need to be in the future is already there. You just have to step into that space.
Wow.
So if you know the space that you're stepping into, so who is Michael in 5 years' time? You can speed that up by knowing what you need to be, your characteristics, your beliefs, the way you hold your body as a conscious decision now, and it speeds up that process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. It makes total sense. Wow. That really pieces it together for me. That's a really interesting thought. I definitely love that suggestion. And in being able to step into those shoes, essentially, you're walking that path in footsteps far beyond where you could ever be at that point. That's great.
Yes, it's making a conscious decision of the person that you're going to be, and now starting and being that now, but keep on holding yourself. Like I have always about 10 things of the man I need to be list in my phone, and I read that every day. And then I just ask myself, am I holding myself to that? Am I this person? Am I this person? And if I'm not, I look at it and I go, okay, why am I avoiding this piece?
Right.
And then if you can mark off 5 of those, I am doing that, I am that, you can actually look back and go, what has changed since I started this list? And you can see the opportunities and the change in direction in your life just by consciously deciding to be a different person.
Right. Say, Andrew,
or improve you, or
this is a little off topic, but I was speaking with a friend today whom I was trying to help, and he didn't have the level of integrity to be able to commit to himself in what he was doing, and he lied to himself. So everything he promised wasn't essentially coming true. And I'm no coach, so I'm not exactly in a position to be able to tell people how things work and how to get into their own mindset. But I was upset that I couldn't give a testimony or testimonial as to how I got to this place that I'm at now and how to be able to step into that place. So what would you say is a way to break past that barrier of that integrity and promising yourself something and actually doing it, committing to it, and stepping into those shoes?
God, I don't even know where to start, Michael. There's so much we can touch on.
Right.
But
just one thing.
I think once people realize that there's no such thing as stuck, you only have to make one conscious decision of something to change in your life that moves you out of that place, even if that's by 1 degree. So when I hold a workshop, for instance, I will say to people, I want you to consciously take one thing today. Forget about everything I'm talking about. What's the one thing that you're going to take from this and now implement into your life? Because you can't implement this into your life and things stay the same. It's impossible. One thing. If that means looking at a list every day and holding yourself to that, if that means getting up at a different time, if that means that I'm going to do 3 posts on social media a day, if that means I'm going to change the way that I handle stress, change the way I think about money. They're just conscious decisions that you can't go in the same direction if you hold yourself to that decision. I have an amazing if I can say that about myself, I have an ability to turn up even when I don't want to turn up.
Mm.
And I think that's what separates me from many others who might have the same dreams or big dreams. Is if I'm hungover, if I'm upset, if I'm depressed, if I'm not up for it, I make sure that I still turn up under that situation, and I still just do what I can do under the circumstances. And it's those days that I turn up when other people don't that separate me from the ones that aren't getting here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I have a very strong ability to turn up.
Mm. Okay. I think that can be awakened within some other people too. It's just a matter of making that first conscious decision and then stepping into it and creating that habit so that it's unconscious and moving forward.
Yes. Yeah. It's spot on. Is creating a habit out of that new decision. So, what we just talked about, the comfort zone, the new normal, the play area.
Exactly.
It's
Beautiful.
constantly creating a new normal for you. It's just leaning outside of fear and your comfort zone and allowing the stuff that happens with it.
Right.
And I know it's hard. I mean, it's not always easy, but if I was to pass on what I felt was my thing in my 20s, was that I allowed my drive and my ego to be a massive driver, and which is completely okay, because the ego is a massive driver to get you out of bed. It's still like, I want to be on TV. I want to show my mum and dad what I'm capable of. I want to show that old school teacher back in Timaru that I could be somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in the 30s, it was, I need money. I want to work. I want to take this to the next level. I really want to play with the people at the top. And then as that dissipates in my 40s now, it's like, I want to make a fucking difference.
Mm-hmm.
It changes. We go through changes, and it's just accepting that. It's accepting our growth all the time, that things aren't going to stay the same.
Right. Absolutely. Mm. Well, Andrew, it seems like to me from everything that you've shared that you really stepped into a position where you understand both sides of the world. You have multiple perspectives that you've been able to essentially input into your perspective that gives not only those perspectives, but also a level of perception of how people can view you and how you present yourself in a social setting. So, what may I be able to do for you when it comes to providing value and getting your message out there in a manner that's presentable with your image, your passion and interests, in online branding or digital marketing, or with anybody that I'm connected with my network? How may I be able to serve you in making your mission a great success?
I'm not sure, Michael. I know that I imagine myself to be living in the States next couple of years.
Cool.
I'm not sure. Can we come back to that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I'd love to lead
And-
into, is if you wanted to talk more about that and I could be able to provide value, that would be in the next call, and that make total sense.
Nice. I mean, Michael, the only reason I say is I've got another call in a couple of minutes. That is organizing my it's the retreat in Bali, and I can't fob them off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do really appreciate you taking the time to open me up to all your thoughts when it comes to presenting and how you're able to help these people extend their vision and their message. I think it's great, and it's definitely a huge contribution. It's extremely valuable in getting yourself out there as a presenter, as a speaker, somebody who's going to deliver a message to the world. So I think it's very complimentary to what I'm doing in the online space, and positioning yourself as a credible authority.
It's nice. The thing is, with your using video and public speaking to leverage your business, you have to have a business that you can actually drive them to.
Yeah, right.
And it's the different levels. If you're presenting to people and they've paid $45 just for an entry level kind of teaser workshop, you need to have the structure of the business of what am I driving them to today?
Mm-hmm.
What's the next? what is the next thing? There's not a lot of money to be made. It's a very crowded market just to go in and talk and inspire people.
Right.
If you're wanting to be that coach and that thought leader and the expert in your field, the authority in your field, you need to be able to have a business model that you can drive people to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's extremely essential. I mean, the website or whatever it is that you are only works so much if you have traffic driven to it. Then it's an actual functioning system and experience that you can be able to immerse yourself in. So, Andrew, how may I be able to contact you?
Mate, I just messaged you my Australian number. I can also, I think you've got my email too, right?
If you could send that to me, that'd be great. And would you be open to having another conversation and filling out my calendar link so we can compare schedules without having to go back and forth?
Yeah. Easy.
Perfect.
Easy.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. You're an absolute pleasure. And I'm glad we got to be able to share some ideas. I'm looking forward to sharing my ideas with you and helping you grow. Thank you, Andrew.
No, thanks, Michael.
Thanks for helping me and everybody else, girl. Have a blessed day. Thanks.
I'll speak to you soon. All right, man. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
And you don't understand me and my limited belief that I'm trying to knock down and break down those barriers because I want to touch the world in so many different places. And if you can't understand that, I am working